Alright guys, welcome back to part 2 of how to sketch a hand from start to finish. And in this video we're going to look at how to do the shading. So this video is probably going to be a bit longer than the first video, and hope you guys stick with me till the end. So let's get started. So I'm going to use the mechanical pencil. So let me just put down the materials that I'm going to use in this particular video. The HB pencil, this is very small. I need to buy a new one. So we have the 2B pencil, then we have the 4B pencil. I need to sharpen it. Let's just display it here. The 8B pencil with me right now, but you can also use the 6B, but I don't think it will be required for this drawing, but let's see. Then I'm going to use a normal eraser. If required, I'll use a Tombow mono eraser and this particular knock blending stump. Does it come in the frame? Okay, I'm gonna put it here. This is the blending stump, and I'll be using different sizes of blending stumps for different purposes. This one is a slightly bigger one. A tissue paper as well, because it's very handy, because sometimes areas which we don't want to get smudged, we're going to use those. And these are the different materials which I'm going to use. So let's get ahead and start the drawing. Okay, so first what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the mechanical pencil in the beginning. This is 0.3 mm, and it's very helpful for making the base layer of any shading. So I'm going to use this pencil and let's make the base shading. If you observe in the picture, there is a very light shading everywhere. So I'm just going to test one portion and then we'll see if this works. So try to put very light strokes like this. I'm making a very basic base. Okay, so we're gonna test it in this particular finger. Let's see if it works out. So I'm using the blending stump to make it smoother, and it looks like it's working. So we're gonna need more work on these areas to make it more detailed. So yeah, doesn't look bad, right? So we're gonna stick with this formula and let's get ahead and do the whole hand. I might as well speed up the video. So we're done with the base sketching with the mechanical pencil. I will use the blending stump, this one, the smaller one. You can use the larger one, but make sure tips are clean. Mine is not clean, but I'm going to use it anyway. It's better if the tip is clean because it gives more better results. Alright, so we're done with the base, and then you can also use the tissue paper to make the sketching. So you just have to use it like this, and this also helps in the blending process sometimes. You just have to rub it. The pressure, you can decide how much pressure to put depending on how your drawing will look. So I'm putting mild pressure, not too much, not too less, and this is how it should turn out. And after that, you can rub off these areas. You can use one eraser like this. Make it clean, and I think this looks about it. Next, we are going to use the HB pencil, which is this one, the little one, and I'm going to use it to make finer details in this, such as, let's start with something like this finger. You have to take time because all these things take a lot of time, and for that reason I'm putting in enough time to make the shading. And if you observe that these parts are darker, so I'm emphasizing more on these areas. Well, I'm not putting too much pressure because this is just the HB pencil. And obviously we're going to use the blending and everything. So alright, so these areas we'll have to put more emphasis. Okay, so this is just one area that we have observed, and then I'm going to see if it works out with the blending stump. It should give the effect that we need, and okay, it's not bad, it's not bad. So this is how it's turning out. Well, I think I did a mistake in this area, so I'm going to rub it off. It doesn't have too much darker areas. We'll take care of that later. So I'm just gonna use the mechanical pencil over here, and I'll do the base once more. We have to observe which areas are darker. So the skin tone, I'm trying to match the tone of the skin, and I'm just putting on the shading like this. And we can also use the tissue paper to make sure that I don't smudge, my hand doesn't smudge against this area which I've already shaded. So I'm using the tissue paper, because if I rest my hand here, this is the reason why you might have observed in other videos that people use this tissue paper and they rest their hand. It's because when they are shading, they don't smudge over the drawing which they had made, because it really makes the drawing look very bad. I'm observing which areas are dark and which are light, and I'm just going on with that same procedure. these areas are the ones where the bones are, and you observe that to make it look three-dimensional, one part has to be darker than the rest of the portion. Hence I'm using the HB pencil to actually make those areas a bit darker. So the base layer is done. Next we have to add the details because it's time to make the parts darker. So same thing, I'm going to use the HB pencil again. Few things that we should keep in mind is what pencil we are using, because if we don't use the right pencil then we won't get the desired output and we'll end up making the part either very dark if it's not required or very light if that part requires to be dark. In my previous videos I have mentioned why we should consider light while shading. If you haven't checked out the previous videos on drawings and sketching, please do. All the links will be given in the description of this video. Here I am using the same process. If you see that in this picture this part is lighter, so obviously light is coming from this direction, from this to here. If you observe, I made a mistake that this structure is usually the bone coming out of this middle finger, so I'll have to rub it off over here. I'll use the mechanical pencil. And I'm going to use the tissue paper to blend it. That was quite fast. So HB pencil once more, and we are going to draw this area. If there are any doubts, please you can mention in the comment section below and I'd be happy to answer your questions. So this is what I've done, and then I'm going to use the blending stump to make it darker like this. So I'm using the 2B pencil right now and making the parts which are dark, and we have to observe that every finger can cause a shadow on the other finger which is near to that. And additionally I'm also using the blending stump to make the adjustments. I'm following the same process as here. After this is done, we're going to go and draw the detailing, like these wrinkles, and then the textures, the skin texture. We're going to give the dots and everything. But before that I want to make sure that that we have these light and shade areas done well. So this is, I understand that this is time consuming, but that's how drawing is. I mean, the more time you give it, the better it would turn out. In another videos I'm going to discuss the different types of shading. I don't stick to one pencil. I just see what is required at the moment to blend with the portion which I'm drawing, and then I try to use whatever pencil I think is best suitable for that kind of place. So it takes time. I can understand that everything as such takes time. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, and we have to give time to these kind of sketches, because the more time we give, the better our sketches turn out. So these, as you can see, is time consuming. I'm repeating the same thing again and again, but yeah, since I'm drawing it, once you start drawing yourself, you will come to understand that yeah, it takes a lot of time. Another thing that we should keep in mind is the amount of pressure which we put on paper, because certain areas which we don't need to put much pressure in, and if we do, then it becomes very difficult to erase that part.
And I can't turn back. I'm falling and I can't turn back.
So for the hair, I'm using the 2B pencil. You can also go for the HB, whichever one is you think it'll give good results. So this is how the hand has turned out. I hope you like this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share my channel and videos with your friends, family, relatives. This is not a 100% detailed drawing. We have to include more details. There are many parts where I cannot show everything because due to lack of time. But yeah, in other videos I'll try to make up for those. I'm just gonna put some small pieces of hair. And yeah, what do you think of my drawing? I hope you like this video. I'll just put my signature over here. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.